This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, today we are going to discuss about Azure integration services as a part of cloud environment nowadays, which we are using across industries for a couple of years. Like Windows Azure is one of the Microsoft Azure is one of the leading cloud service provider, wherein we are using for a very long time. In reference to that, there are Azure integration services which majorly using nowadays where it is majorly focusing on the kind of collection of services for integrating all applications and as well as the kind of data what is that we are using. Along with this, the kind of architecture what we uses and all everything will be of two different services and all everything will be provided. One is basically majorly focusing on the logical applications to orchestrate the workflows. At the same time, it is being used for API management to create catalogs for APIs, all that stuff. At the same time, this architecture is having a sufficient basic integration scenarios where we need to understand the kind of workflows which are triggered by synchronous calls to backend services. At the same time, it is more sophisticated services where we can use this for whatever the kind of queues are we going to maintain. At the same time, the kind of events what is that we are building on this basic architecture. So as far as this architecture of Azure, this thing itself is concerned, you usually have different components. The first one is backend systems, wherein you can see here. At the same time, the second one is called Azure Logic Apps. The third one is considered as Azure API Management, followed by this API Gateway. At the same time, Developer Portal. Now, when you talk about the first one, which is called backend systems, where the kind of diagram which majorly focuses on the variant backend systems that the enterprises has deployed or relies on. At the same time, these are including different SaaS services like software as a service systems and all that. At the same time, these Azure services, at the same time, web services and all everything more exposed towards the kind of restfulness at the same time, SOAP endpoints, all that. When you talk about Azure Logic applications and all, this is something like serverless platform where we are building enterprise workflows which are something useful for us to integrate the applications, the kind of data services and all that. In this architecture, the logical applications are triggered by HTTP request and all that, wherein we also can host the workflows and all for more complex orchestrations, which majorly used for logical applications to use connectors to integrate with commonly used services. At the same time, these logical applications offer hundreds of connectors, and we also can create customer connectors when and wherever it is needed. The third one we call it as Azure API management, wherein this API management majorly focusing on the kind of published catalogs of the HTTP APIs. Followed by this, it is being used and promote reuse and rediscoverability of API management consists of two related components in this. So one is API gateway, which majorly focusing on accepting HTTP calls and routers them to the backend. At the same time, when you talk about developers portal, where each and every instances of Azure API management provides an access to the developers portal, where this will gives us a developers access to the documentation and code samples for calling different APIs and all. We also can test these APIs in the developer portal itself. In this architecture, majorly the composite APIs are built by importing logical apps and as well as apps APIs. You can also import existing web services by importing OpenOPA specifications or importing SOAP APIs or WSDL specifications, all that. This API gateway helps majorly to decouple front-end clients from the back-end as well as, for example, if you can rewrite URLs or transform requests before they reach to the backend. It also handles many cross-cutting components such as authentications, cross-origin resources sharings and all, supporting and response caching. As far as Azure DNS itself is concerned, it's a hosting service for DNS domains, wherein this DNS provides name resolutions by using the Microsoft Azure infrastructure, where this hosting your domain in the platform and use this DNS by using the same credentials. At the same time, API tools and billing that you are used for the use for Azure services, which are used for a customer domain name, such as console.com or that stuff. At the same time, it is being used to create DNS records that map the custom domain's name of the IP addresses. For more information, see the configuration majorly into this. At the same time, when you talk about Azure Active Directory, where it is uses Azure AD to authenticate clients that calls the API gateway. At the same time, Azure AD supports the OpenID connects as well as the protocols clients obtains and access tokens from the Azure AD. At the same time, it is being taken by API gateway validates the tokens to authorize the request. When using the standard or perimeter of API gateway management, Azure AD also will also be helpful for us to secure access to the developers when and wherever it is needed in the portal. So this is how generally this Azure related architectures and all everything is being used for, especially in reference to the Azure integration services, all that. For information regarding this training, you always have a choice where you can reach us, wherein we are posting our contact details in below to this video. Thank you. See you.